Good evening. Welcome to the Town of Islip Planning Board for Wednesday, August 13th. Can I ask everybody to please stand for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Just some housekeeping matters. If you're here for item 3 on the agenda, BJ Al-Reha, that has been adjourned, will not be heard this evening. And if you're here for item 6 on the agenda, Joseph Catalanato, that also will not be heard this evening. It's been adjourned. If you're a member of the community who would like to speak, there are yellow cards in the back. Please fill one out. When you come up, we ask you to please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. And for our applicants, we remind you that your presentation should be 30 minutes or less. First item on the agenda, I'm going to take items 1 and 2 together. So our first item is L&P Bayshore LLC, MS 2025-001, east side of East 3rd Avenue, approximately 250 feet south of Brook Avenue, Bayshore, 1265 and 1275 East 3rd Avenue. Applicant requests preliminary approval and cluster authorization for a major subdivision to construct 16 semi-detached single-family dwellings. Next item is L&P Bayshore LLC, CZ 2024-003, east side of East 3rd Avenue, approximately 250 feet south of Brook Avenue, Bayshore, 1265 and 1275 East 3rd Avenue. Applicant requests a change of zone from Residence B to Residence CA and a major subdivision in order to construct 16 semi-detached single-family dwellings. Cluster authorization is also requested as part of this application. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is J.R. DeCiccio with the law firm of Greenberg Chorig, 900 Stewart Avenue, Garden City, New York, 11530. With me tonight, I have Michael Rant from North Coast Civil. He's the project engineer and will be able to answer any questions the board might have on the subdivision plan. I'm appearing tonight on behalf of the applicant, L&P Bayshore, in connection with the proposed change of zone and major subdivision for the property located on the east side of East 3rd Avenue in Bayshore. The subject property measures nearly 3 acres. Back in the early 2000s, the subject property was approved for a nine-lot detached single-family subdivision. Although it appears that construction has began, the subdivision was never fully developed, and the property has remained vacant since, with the exception of the northernmost lot, and that house was constructed and is not part of this application tonight. Prior to my clients purchasing the property, there were multiple fire marshal violations, town board cleanup resolutions, and I believe even a town board demolition resolution with respect to the partially constructed foundations. My client acquired the property in May of 2023, and we have been working with the planning department since that time to develop a plan that is not only going to be successful, but will also comport to the nature and character of the neighborhood. The proposal tonight before the board seeks a change of zone to Residence CA, as well as a major subdivision creating 16 lots. While this may seem like a departure from the prior approval, it really isn't. We are proposing 16 semi-detached single-family dwellings. Is that better? Okay. While this may seem like a departure from the prior approval, it really isn't. We are proposing 16 semi-detached single-family dwellings, but only 8 structures. Each structure will contain 2 dwellings, and they will share a party wall. They'll all be ownership units, not rental, and each property will have its own, each homeowner will have its own property. The proposed dwellings are 2 stories with 3 bedrooms on the 2nd floor, and will have a footprint of 670 square feet and a total floor area of just over 1,400 square feet. From a bird's eye view, the subdivision will practically mirror the initial approval. The 16 units are contained within 8 structures of similar size to the initial approval, and they're actually 150 square feet smaller So the total building area of the new subdivision will actually be less than the original. Each dwelling will have a one-car garage and driveway accommodations for up to 2 cars, so there will be sufficient space to contain all parking on site. The property is located within the Southwest Sewer District, so each dwelling will be sewered. And as far as the roadway and drainage improvements, the same design criteria was used here as was used for the original approved subdivision. The established development pattern of the neighborhood is a mix of detached and semi-detached single-family dwellings and supports this application. I've submitted an aerial photo showing where the subject property is, and I've also indicated where there are other CA developments right in the neighborhood. So as you can see from the aerial, directly across the street on the west side of East 3rd Avenue, you have a subdivision with 18 semi-detached homes on Tudor Lane. As you head south on East 3rd, there are 2 more residence CA developments, one recent approval for 12 semi-detached homes, and a more dated approval for 16 semi-detached homes. On North 3rd Avenue and Trim Street, which is to the west of East 3rd Avenue, there are also significant CA developments. I counted, it looks like about 32 semi-detached dwellings. So, based upon that, the proposal before you comports with the nature and character of the neighborhood and will help provide a diverse housing stock. 4 of the 16 will be affordable units, and the remaining 12 will be market rate. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
I think we'll go to public comment, and we certainly have some questions for
Okay.
you. Mr. Brown?
Melanie Swan? Yes, please come up.
Sorry, I had your mic on.
I am against this. I live on the corner of East 3rd Avenue, and when you look at the project and the structure, that's too many to move onto our block. There have been other CA zoned properties, and every time we zone for more, the neighborhood gets busier and louder. More cars drive speed down a block. We have schools in our zone, and it's dangerous for the crossing guard out front. So the more people, you're talking about, what, another 100 people living on our block? That's too much. That's too much to ask for people who moved into this neighborhood. We moved there for a reason. We moved there because of the way our neighborhood was designed, and we didn't move there because, like you said, the initial property was zoned for maybe 5 houses. I remember when I bought my property 30 years ago, that was woods, and the original realtor that tried to purchase to have 5 homes there was turned down. So the property has been transitioning for the last 30 years, but for us to end here, where you're telling us that we're gonna have 50, at least 50, because you're only talking about 4 of those units being affordable housing. And most people that buy houses, there are multiple families that are buying the homes in our area. So it's not like one family is going to buy this property. It's going to be multiple families that's going to purchase the property to be able to afford the property. And once they move in, that's more than 50 people you're asking to move into this property and live in our neighborhood. And I think it's too much to ask of us. It's too much. You all sat down how many years ago putting this plan together? But you wait until you have the plan in place to come to the people and talk to the people who live in the neighborhood to discuss the property and the plans that you have. I believe you're probably going to do it regardless of what we say today, but just know that we're against it.
Laura Sophia Guerrero? And when you come up, please give your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Laura Sofia Guerrero. I live on 1355 East 3rd Avenue, Bayshore, New York, and I have been living in that residence since 1998. Piggybacking off of her, I remember the woods. I do. I miss when Long Island used to be a little bit more green when it came to that nature aspect. I remember them being knocked down. I remember those houses going up and being abandoned, and they've just sat there. What she says is 100% true, though, with our neighborhood becoming busier and busier. That street, there's constant car accidents all the time. There was one just yesterday on East 3rd Avenue. We have people driving like crazy, sorry. If you guys want to put something in place there, I recommend putting something that serves the community, like a community garden maybe. Something that gives back to the community. Personally, when we got Shoregate a couple years ago, which is ridiculously priced by the way, I wanted a community center. But again, we didn't know about this stuff until they were already approved. I found out about this meeting less than an hour ago when I got back from work. My dad said, somebody came to our house, can you go represent? And I said, absolutely. I love where I grew up. I love where I live. I don't want that getting destroyed by more housing and Long Island turning into Queens with all the buildings coming in. You know, you guys can look at me and you guys don't realize the effect of approving this either. But just know, like how she said, approval or not, we're against it 100%. We don't want it. And I'm literally shaking up here just because it's not something for the people of this town. And that's just where I stand on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Philip Antonoff.
Hello, my name is Philip Antonoff. I live at 406 Brook, which is sharing a fence with the property. There were a lot of things I wanted to mention, so I'm just going to speak quick. Putting that many dwellings, as other people have said, in such a small property feels like it's going to be a traffic nightmare. It feels like there's way too many dwellings for the space, as others have said. My lot is over half an acre for one house, and this is, as the other lady said, over 50 people for 3 acres. I was born and raised in Queens. I left Queens to get away from the clutter of the city, and it feels like you're trying to put the clutter in my backyard. I feel like I completely disagree with what the guy said about the nature and allure. I feel like it completely detracts from the nature and allure of the neighborhood. There are a lot of duplexes in the neighborhood, as he stated, but they're not on, crammed on 3 acres. I don't mean to be crass, but it really feels like they're trying to put the walled city of Kowloon in my backyard. That's it. Thank you.
Kenneth Barnes.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the board. My name is Kenneth Barnes. I live at 1198 East 3rd Avenue, Bayshore, New York. My house is 140 feet away from the site of the proposed Thomas Drive. Thank you for hearing myself and my fellow community members in reference to this application. I've called East 3rd Avenue my home for the past 24 years, which was the beginning of my childhood. I'm here today with my mother, who has raised me as a single parent during these 24 years, and I'm speaking to her on my family's behalf. First and foremost, I just want to say that I care deeply about my local community and the neighborhood in which I grew up in. I do believe that a sustainable and aesthetically pleasing development will be beneficial to the community compared to the current state of that site. However, I am in strong opposition to the applicant's proposed subdivision. The applicant is proposing 16 three-bedroom condo units, which are only 1,400 square feet large. This is much smaller than the standard three-bedroom condo unit sizes. I encourage everybody in this room to look online at local comparisons, and you'll see that an average size three-bedroom condo unit is a minimum of 1,800 square feet. Since these are not apartments and are for sale condos, they are housing units which should be designed to be lived in comfortably for decades. In order to do so, these housing units need to have spacious and functional rooms and living quarters, meaning the living room should be large enough to accommodate family and relatives. Each bedroom should have ample closet space. There should be enough room for a full-size kitchen and designated dining area, as well as an entryway with a coat closet and enough space for children's stray shoes, book bags, packages, etc. There should also be room for a designated laundry area and a minimum of 2 full bathrooms and 1 powder room. It is impossible to reasonably accommodate all these functions for a 3-bedroom dwelling with only a 1,400 square foot floor area. The concern is that without this proper space, it will result in a household that lives within its own clutter, and a chaotic environment breeds more chaos. Another major concern of mine is off-street parking. A 3-bedroom condo unit can easily have a family with 4 to 5 cars. This can result in the development as a whole being overcrowded, which is already a prevalent issue with our surrounding community. My largest concern is that the applicant is using a loophole in the Town of Islip zoning code that is essentially allowing them to develop a 60-unit, 3-bedroom apartment community. Whether the applicant gets their approval and sells this project shovel-ready to another developer or builds their project themselves, what is preventing them from renting out each individual condo unit as a 3-bedroom apartment? From a value standpoint, the more bedrooms the applicant gets approved per dwelling unit, the more attractive the development becomes to outside investors and fellow developers. Our community does not want to become collateral damage of an applicant who's trying to extract as much value as possible for the development and not consider the future health of the community and the local residents. I recognize that the town most likely wants to see this site developed, as do I. However, I am in strong support of the existing 8 single-family residence plot plan to remain, and the developer builds these homes as previously approved. If this committee chooses to grant the applicant a higher density against the wishes of local residents and community members, I implore them to at least do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheryl Rabb.
My name is Cheryl Rabb. I reside at 27 Sylvan Street, Bayshore, New York. My parents purchased 27 Sylvan Street in 1962. I was born in 1966, and for all except for maybe 6 years, I lived at that residence. If you put this planned community there, it's going to result in more accidents than already happen. Our children do not have sidewalks coming from Sylvan Street down Brook Avenue until you get to East 3rd Avenue. So with the number of cars that come through with parents dropping their children off at school, it's going to create a hazard. And so my question is, how many children, how many of our black and brown children need to be hurt before something is done? There's no traffic light there. Ms. Swan did not mention that her house has been hit by a car that ran the stop sign. Her fence has been struck multiple times by cars that drive incredibly fast through an area that is already too populated. My other question is, if you rezone this area, how many other areas are going to need to be rezoned for you to add more housing? You built Shoregate on Union Boulevard, and you removed the bus stop from there. You removed the bus stop from there because there were complaints that there were homeless people who were hanging out in that area, and you did not want that area to be blighted by homelessness. At what point are we going to address the homelessness in our area, in our community? You're building this community that people like me cannot afford. The only reason I continue to stay in Bayshore is because my parents purchased that home. My taxes have just gone up, which made my mortgage go up by $250 a month. And I don't know about the folks on the board, but I can tell you the folks here in the audience probably can't afford an extra $250 in their mortgage payment. Let's go back to the bus stop for a moment. You removed the bus stop from Union Boulevard, but then you placed it on East 3rd Avenue. I'm sorry, on Brook Avenue, not too far from where this community is planned. So now we're going to have people hanging out on the corner waiting for the bus to come at all hours of the day and evening. Why is this happening in our community? In Bayshore, you have built so many housing units that the people who live there can't afford. In Shoregate, a studio apartment goes for $3,400. That's more than 2 mortgages put together. At what point are we going to, 1, address homelessness, 2, address the aesthetics of our community so that it doesn't look like the projects in the city? And at what point are we going to address the people coming into our community? Because I guarantee you, all of those units will be rentals or leases within the next 5 years. Thank you.
Urban Kinslaw.
Good evening. My name is Urban Kinsler. I'm at 1421 Brook Avenue, the corner of Brook and 3rd. Like was said, the bus stop is a nightmare. I have a corner house there. I've been here 25 years, okay? You all decide to want to put a bus stop blocking my driveway. I had to fight to get that bus stop removed, but the damage was done already. I keep a manicured lawn. I keep my yard right. Now I have to deal with the bus stopping at the corner of my house, picking up people. They throw trash. Every week, I gotta pick up trash right off my property, all because y'all wanted to put a bus stop there, but I fought it. Y'all removed the bus stop, but the damage was done. And putting these apartments here would be even worse. I'm already living a nightmare, already. All because y'all wanna block my driveway with a bus stop, which made no sense. I complained every day. I called y'all every single day until that bus stop was removed. But the bus driver continues to pick up people at that corner on Brook and 3rd. Putting these housing there would be a nightmare. The crossing guard, right in front of my house, I've seen twice where she almost got hit by a car. It's a nightmare for her. She can't even cross the kids coming out of school because the traffic is so bad there. It is so bad. Okay? And the people get impatient. When she's trying to stop traffic and then cross the street, the car won't go. I've seen it myself. I've seen her almost get hit twice. She's a nervous wreck. You know, every year she's deciding to leave. I mean, what are y'all gonna wait until some kids get killed? You know, it's a nightmare. And to do this would be, forget it, it's terrible. Don't do it. It's not good for the neighborhood. The streets are too narrow. Those are one-way lanes. Two-way traffic. Now, can you imagine with 50, 70 more people there, and how the traffic's going to be? It's going to be impossible. I mean, I'm at the point where when I'm pulling out of my driveway, the traffic is terrible, even for my wife. And here it is, I've been there 25 years, and here it is, I got to clean up trash, all because you all wanted to put a bus stop in front of my driveway. And it's gone now, because I fought for it. I said, you got to remove this, it's illegal. But the bus drivers, I wish you tell your bus drivers, do not pick up people on the corner of Brook and 3rd. You know, and it's wrong. It's just a bad idea. It's not good for the neighborhood, and I hope you'll decide not to do this, because it's not good for us. We don't need it. Thank you.
Margaret Dewan.
Good evening. I've been living on Brook for more years than I care to name here, 30-something. And I came to a community that I wanted to be in where it was quiet, it's residential, neighbors know one another, and we support each other. And now it's turned into Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, the Bronx. And we left the city for a reason. because we don't want to live in the city environment. We want to live in a community. And you are ruining our community with these proposals. The lot is designated for 4 homes, homes like what we live in, homes that we're surrounded by, and now you want to turn that into 16. Let's multiply that. How does that work? It doesn't, because right now, I go and sit on Brook Avenue for a few days to see what I'm talking about. You cannot get out of your driveway 20, 30 cars before you can push out and hopefully somebody lets you in. You cannot get out or get in because the traffic is now horrendous. It's very unsafe. You can't even walk to CVS. It's 2 or 3 blocks. You can't walk. You have to get in your car because there's no sidewalks. So it's very unsafe. You can't trust your kids out there because they might end up dead. Dead, very dead, because there's no sidewalks. The bus passes, and you have to jump on someone's lawn so that it can pass so you don't get knocked over. So you have to go and see what we're talking about because you don't understand until you feel it yourself. Try walking to the pharmacy to pick up medication for your kid and see you can't get there. The little bit of sidewalk that is on the right-hand side is covered in bushes, so you have to duck or walk in the street. So it's severe. Our taxes are going to go up. The impact with the pollution, you can't keep your windows open because when you do, all the smoke comes in from the buses. The overcrowding, the noise, the buses run till midnight, you can't sleep, and they start at like 5:30 in the morning. So it's horrible. It's horrible. The strain on the community resources, I don't know if you've even thought about that. Do we need parks? What do we need? Recreational activities, community centers, as was mentioned before. Have you thought about that? Because I didn't hear anybody mention that. The value of our property will go down. It will go down because you're not putting in like buildings. You're putting in 16 units instead of homes, single-family homes that we're accustomed to. The class sizes in the schools will increase, as you know, because with that many families comes a truckload of children. The financial impact, every time they touch that lot, we get rats, we get, what do you call those things? We get a lot of rodents that come out of that property. And no one said that they're going to take care of that for us when they come and eat up our lawns, and you can't leave your kids in the backyard because of these rodents. And someone needs to do something about that every time they disturb that lot. So let me just say, I hope you consider all of the things that we're saying, and when you bring this high density into low density areas, that you consider what we're telling you about things that have happened before, because you have a responsibility to make sure that the people who currently live there are living safely and securely as well. Thank you.
Chris Bamfy. Chris Bamfy.
Hello, good evening all. I wasn't planning on making any remarks, but as a resident, as a homeowner for the past 10 years, I live at 16 Sheffield Ave in Bayshore. I've grown up on 23 Dowsing Avenue in Bayshore for the past 35 years of my 40 years of life. I'm heavily opposed to the project as a young man growing up with my friends and family. This is not what I expected when I came back. Understand, I'm a 23-year U.S. Marine Corps veteran. I'm a 15-year active duty police officer in New York City. So hearing the sentiments of the community, gave me a sense of the importance of being here today and understanding that the proposal is, I'm completely against it. I have 5 children. Now, when I take my children out for a bike ride, where is there a outlet? Where's the park? Where's the sidewalks? For my kids going to school. If you go to that area, you understand that the heavy amount of traffic during the school year. There's a middle school right there. There's an elementary school right there. It has enough traffic as is. If you everybody that lives in that community, they understand it. You know, my neighbors in that area, they understand it. That's why we're here. We're heavily opposed to it. Understand if it's 4 or 5 for the community, that's fine. But to build 16 and you multiply that with the potential of the unknowns of who's going to live there, the families, with the affordable housing or not, Bay Shore doesn't need that anymore. We have enough, and we're not going to continue to have you guys layer on top of layer, put the burden and onus on us as community members. So I completely do not support this project. It is no way beneficial to us. The town needs to consider some type of, you know, botanical garden or park or resource for the community. Thank you.
Janine Russo?
Hi, my name is Janine Russo. I live at 1400 East Forks Road. I wasn't planning on coming up and speaking because pretty much everybody hit the nail on the head. And I also don't have anything written down because I just found out about this an hour ago. But my biggest concern is the overcrowding in Bay Shore. We have so many apartment buildings that have gone up, and the overcrowding in this town is becoming like a city. And we really don't need more. I guess my question to the board is, what happened that the original 4 homes were not built? What was the problem with that? Why can't we go back to that? I mean, I know you want to build. Why don't you just build residential homes? Why do we need 16 units in 3 acres of land? And my concern is, will those homes, the population will go up, the children will be affected. We do need community parks for children to go to. And like I said, pretty much everybody touched base on it, but why can't we just build residential homes? I think it's about the money and not the people. Thank you.
Reverend Marilyn Batista?
Good evening. My name is Reverend Marlene Batista, and I live in 1285 East 3rd Avenue. My father, Bishop Reverend Batista, is the owner of the house, and we are the owners of the 9th property. It was supposed to be 9 houses, 8 were vacant, and we were able to save our home. I met all the other original owners that lost, some of them up to $100,000 when we all pay our deposits, and the builder went into bankruptcy. At that time, we did not get the support of the town nor the properties. Everybody lost all their savings and our American dream. We are grateful that we were able to save our home after we paid to the town all the summons from the builder, and we pay for new permits. We have to invest a lot of money. But thanks God, we are in our house. But we feel sorry for all the other owners that lost everything. But more properties means more money. More money for the builders, more money for the owners of the land, and even more money for the town for taxes. Why the area has to be rezoned? Taxes are going to go up. As other people already said, we have people walking in our grasses. We have to pick up all the garbage that people leave in our front yard. We have enough cars. I have almost, they hit me, I would say, 10 times in a year because people go too fast, too many cars, and it's really hard to come and in from our parkings. A garden would be great, but if you decide to build, please stick to the original plan, 8 houses. Thank you.
Michelle Craddock.
Good evening. My name's Michelle Craddock. I live at 11 Sheffield Avenue. I'm not a great public speaker, but I'm a good speaker. I'm going to go on a limb here and say that none of you live in the area. I was born and raised for there 50 years. I live 2 blocks away from where I live now. The area has gotten so overpopulated, talking about the traffic, the streets are inundated with cars. You cannot go down the streets. Sometimes you can't go down without one single way. It's a fire hazard, it's a medical hazard if the ambulance has to come. You said that there'll be 2 cars per household. That is totally laughable. Drive the neighborhood any single day. Get out there. The places that you want to build these places, come out and visit us. Walk the streets. Drive your cars around at all times of the day. Don't sit here behind your boards, because I know you don't live in our neighborhood. And it's sad what it has become. As people have said, you can't let your kids go out and ride their bicycles, because you don't know if they're coming home because they're going to get hit by a car. People drive crazy. They don't abide by stop signs. As somebody was talking about the crossing guard over there, she is absolutely amazing. I have seen her multiple times almost get hit by cars. You have to stop allowing apartments to be built in Bay Shore. You know of all the places that you've allowed through. In a few months from now, I believe it is, Wayside Fence is going to become apartment buildings. How many more apartments do we need here? We live near the South Shore Mall. We know what that place has become. What will you allow that to become in the near future? We don't need this in our neighborhood. As people said, 4 or 5 houses. I believe there was an issue, and you can correct me sometime if I'm wrong, that originally not only was it a bankruptcy, but there was something to do with water running under that area. So I don't know if the water has evaporated or disappeared. I don't know, because I don't follow that and I don't have the background for that. I think that's about it. Again, a lot of this comes down to money in pockets. The money does not go back to Bay Shore. We are pooped upon, for lack of better words. All those parking meters down on Main Street, it doesn't come back to Bay Shore. It goes to all of Islip. Start taking care of Bay Shore, please. Thank you and have a good evening.
Irina Rodriguez Gavin.
Hi, sorry, I'm a very loud speaker, so I apologize in advance. My name is Irina Rodriguez. I live at East 3rd Avenue. I've been living there for about 25 years. I purchased my parents' home about 3 years ago, and I'm really upset that now I get to live with construction for 16 homes, when this was originally supposed to be 4 homes, or 5 maybe, that were supposed to be built, and I saw what it looked like when they abandoned those homes, and they were just sitting there for years and years. No one did anything about that. They just sat there and had our block looking like crap for years. So now, who's going to help us when it comes to our community staying safe when our street already suffers from chronic speeding issues, tons of traffic speeding through just to get to the Sunrise Highway Service Road? We also have a car dealership who test drives on our block constantly. I work from home, and I watch the kids walk to and from school and nearly get hit by cars every day. Good thing I don't have children, but I worry about everyone else's kids when they're walking down my street. We also have people walking their dogs. I don't feel safe walking my dog down my own street because it's that busy. We have no sidewalks on both sides of the street, so that makes it even worse. So now you're going to have all these construction vehicles parked on our street. How is that going to help the already bad situation we're dealing with? We're also going to be dealing with constant noise, air quality issues from all the debris that's going to be kicked up from this construction. We already are concerned that these new homes are going to be used for rental units. How are you going to guarantee that that's not going to happen? You guys already built a ton of these semi-detached dwellings on the block behind us. We don't need more of them. We have a whole bunch of them on the block behind us. There's also an issue with water shortages in our area. I get the alerts every other day. So how is that going to impact our water shortage issue? I'm fed up with this. I've seen this property look like crap for years, and I'd like to see the original 4 or 5 homes or whatever it was be built there. That's what we have on that whole side of the street is single-family homes, not multifamily, 16 families, 20 family dwellings. And we're gonna have people parking all sorts of cars all over, and we know that's gonna trickle down onto our block, not that little cul-de-sac. Thank you for listening to me rant.
Chris Gavin.
Good afternoon. My name is Chris Gavin. I live at 1194 East 3rd Avenue. I echo the sentiments of everyone else here, but I'm just trying to raise some new points here. We live within 200 feet of the proposed subdivision here, and we were not provided notice by mail to begin with. Second, the subdivision that's being planned under CA, I don't even believe meets the requirements of CA. And I didn't have much time to actually go over these plans, having not been provided adequate notice, but 7 of the 16 properties do not meet the FAR requirements. 12 of the 16 properties do not meet the lot width requirements of CA. 12 of the 16 do not meet the side yard setbacks, and 3 of the 16 do not have rear yard setbacks for the appropriate zoning that they're requesting. I beg to differ with the 2-car driveways that are included in these plans. There are no dimensions on these plans for the driveways. For what I can tell, they are probably approximately 12 feet wide, which I don't believe is adequate to support 2 cars in that driveway. There's going to be absolutely no street parking with how these single-family dwellings / apartments are going to be on top of each other. There's not enough parking in these plans, number one. Number two, the building actually, lot number 4, runs into the 100 feet freshwaterway buffer for the wetlands next door or adjacent to the property. Okay, so you're telling me in these microchip backyards that these people are going to be maintaining these properties when there's not even space to put a shed on the properties. Okay, you can't get a lawnmower in there. I mean, these properties are 20 feet away from each other. There's 10 feet of side yard between some of these properties. How are these people going to take their garbage cans out to the front of the houses when it's 10 feet and you have to fit a fence in between this 20-foot barrier here? How are you going to have privacy with your neighbors when you can't even fit shrubs in here? I feel so bad for the houses surrounding these properties because there's no room to put any sort of privacy. You can't put an arborvitae in here. It'll take up the entire backyard. This is absolutely ridiculous. On the corner of the property, nearest East 3rd Avenue, I guess the northernmost part of the lot, you have 4 lots looking over each other's backyards. Okay, and those 4 lots are actually looking over the single-family residence that was apparently one of the original houses that were planned here. So this just makes absolutely no sense from an environmental standpoint, in a planning standpoint. This was already Zone B. Think to yourselves why the property was originally Zone B in the first place, okay? And second of all, the proposed planning do not even meet the requirements. The proposed plans do not meet the requirements that they're seeking to have the zoning. So they're requesting additional concessions from the board as well. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Diana Contreras.
Hi, my name is Diana Contreras, and I reside on Tudor Lane. And I myself was not going to speak, but as I hear the stories of all of the residents that are going to be impacted by this and the issues that they brought up, I feel an obligation to speak up on my behalf and everyone's behalf that's here. Primarily, I want to start off by bringing to everyone's attention that these proposals, from what I see, were submitted back in March 15th, 2024. Again, March 15th, 2024. And I believe those that are here only just received notification by certified mail, and that notification only went to those who apparently live within 200 feet by, I was just informed that that's the legal requirements. But those people who live 201 feet away from there should have been informed. People are here today that did not receive a certified notice. We had to take it upon ourselves and let them know that this is being built in our immediate community. I also want to say, if you can show by raising your hands so that we know how many of you have stood in front of this lot to view this property yourselves? 3. And our Angie Carpenter, I think, came once. How many people on this board is making this decision that's going to impact the lives of not only those that are in a 200-foot radius of this property? On East 3rd Avenue, there is a severe curvature in the road. Many people have had near-death experiences. How are you going to compensate for that? There is going to be a significant environmental impact in our community. The flooding area. People who spoke here today have flooding in their homes on East 3rd and behind East 3rd and in the other CA development as well. They've informed me on that. They have pumps going. When it rains, it affects those that are on East 3rd. Car dealerships was mentioned. We constantly deal with that, where I've personally have spoken to the ownership and the management, and there is no recourse to that. There are no parking. There's not going to be sufficient parking and space available for what is being proposed. Again, no sidewalks. People with disabilities, that's 3 minutes, have nowhere to walk. The bus line, route number 7, is significantly impacting those that live on Brook Avenue. Mary J. Clarkson School, the middle school. I encourage you, take some time and please sit in your cars and see how many school children walk up and down East 3rd Avenue. I implore you, for those who have not been there, you're making a decision in a community that you've
Can I
never
ask you
been
to try and wrap up, ma'am?
And you need to change the law in regards to letting people know who only live 200 feet away from the proposed plan. This is not a place to build 16 units. There's more I would like to say, and I will officially submit a letter to each and every single one of you. This is not fair. We deserve a quality of life. Just think how you would
Ma'am.
feel if this is being built in front of your homes.
We will accept your comments in writing. Thank you. Those are all the cards we have. Did anybody else come in late who wishes to be heard on the application? Come on up, ma'am. Please fill out a card afterwards.
wanted to make a few comments of people. Oh, sorry. I'm Margaret Dwar, but I'm speaking for some folks that could not be here. We live within the 200-foot radius and did not receive any notification of this meeting today. And I have people that have signed that could not be here, and they too were not notified. And so that's why they're not here. They did not know about it and have to work or have other commitments. So they did sign saying that they're not for this project with 16 units, maybe 4 or 5 units, single-family homes rather, and not these units. Would be a much better option. So I could submit that. I don't know if that helps.
We'll take that and make it part of the record.
Okay, great.
And also, what is your address? I just want to look up the distance.
I'm on Brook Avenue.
Which number?
The number's 426.
Okay, thank you.
And everybody that signed did not receive notice. And there are a few more, but they wanted to tell you that. Let me just see really quickly what else they wanted to tell you. They asked if you could execute a keen sense of foresight and empathy towards the existing residents, and bear the responsibility to ensure that they are not against growth, but they would rather that the growth be beneficial to the current residents that are there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn to
Let
Mr.
me get
Gonzalez
that.
for a staff report. And Mr. Colgan, if you'd like to add, oh, someone else? I'm sorry. Hold off, Mr. Gonzalez. Thank you.
Good evening, all. Thank you. It will be a brief comment. My name is Miriam Joseph. I currently live at 1299 East 3rd Avenue. I've lived there almost my entire life, so that's almost 28 years. I'm also a teacher in the community. I implore you to really think about the impact this will have on the educational system. I'm teaching a classroom full of 30 kids at the moment, and continuing to put high-density housing in our community is not beneficial for adults, for children who don't have a voice and cannot speak for themselves here today. So I really, really encourage you all, like Ms. Contreras, I believe, said, please visit the site. Please consider the youth. We have a teacher shortage, and we don't have anywhere to place the kids. We don't have teachers to teach the children. Outside of that, it's a very unsafe area, no sidewalks. If we want to consider putting something in the community, please consider a stoplight. The home that was run into was my mother's home. We've had so many accidents on that corner. We don't need more housing. We need something for the community, something that benefits the members of this community, something for the children in this community. So I implore you, please consider that and all of the responses here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This application proposes a 16-unit residential subdivision on an existing 8-lot subdivision. The original approval was for 9 homes. The site is currently a defunct subdivision with an abandoned dwelling and several foundations. Prior to this, the property was the subject of a major subdivision in 2003, which was started but never completed. The proposed zoning district is generally preferred in areas within a convenient distance to shopping centers and mass transit. However, the surrounding area consists of a variety of housing types, including a mobile home park, 2-family dwellings in Residence CAA zoning district, and several multifamily duplex ownership developments that are zoned Residence CA. So this proposal is not unique to the area. It diversifies the town's housing stock and would help remove a nuisance from the neighborhood that has existed for more than a decade. There are freshwater wetlands along the southern portion of the property, which affect the maximum yield proposed subdivision can have as of right, which would be 14 lots. The applicant can utilize the bonus density in Residence CA by offering 2 additional affordable units for a total of 4, which would bring the total number of lots up to 16. All units will be ownership, which is consistent with the development patterns of the area. The concept is similar to Tudor Lane on the west side of East 3rd Avenue across the street. Based on the comments heard tonight, staff would recommend we reserve decision so we can address all the concerns.
Thank you. Mr. DeCiccio, we have some questions for you. I guess the first one that Ms. Gonzalez raised, can you speak about walkability?
Well, you know, the property when developed will have sidewalks. It will be walkable to any other goods and services that the rest of the CA developments in the neighborhood are walkable to.
Do you know what those
I
amenities
mean,
are,
there's-
what public transportation,
I mean,
what
it's-
amenities?
I mean, there's a CVS right up the corner, but, you know, other than that, there's not many goods and services nearby.
Okay, so, you know, from my perspective, obviously, that is a concern. It's one of the reasons why you would give you the increased density, is having the walkability of other things in the area for the community to walk
Well,
to.
the bonus criteria that we're meeting is for the affordable units. So we're getting the additional 2 units because 4 of the proposed units will be affordable.
Right, but to change the zone overall, I think I'm looking at.
Right, and, you know, this is not, CA zoning is not unique to this area. There was one just approved just south on East 3rd Avenue, I think about 4 or 5 years ago. There's one directly across the street on Tudor Lane, and there's at least 2, maybe 3 on Trim Street and North 3rd Avenue. So I guess the walkability would be the same for all of them.
Can you speak to the units themselves? I'm just looking at the floor plans here, if they're the most accurate that you've currently submitted.
Yep.
I show 3 bedrooms upstairs, 1 full bath.
Yep.
I show a living room downstairs, a kitchen, and a half a bath, and then
Correct.
the basement.
And then an unfinished basement with a utility closet for, I believe, a washer and dryer.
For eating purposes, I show 3 stools at a countertop.
Correct.
I'm just trying to understand if you have a 3-bedroom.
That's just the floor plan. You can
It's
put
the
a.
floor plan that you guys have put together, it doesn't say
Right.
living dining. I'm just wondering how you know,
I mean,
if your architects here can speak to.
You can eat at the island, or you can put a kitchen table.
Okay, but from your own submission, or from your architect, it's showing, or a lack of a showing of a dining area. And I just bring that up for the 1,400 feet. It seems like we're cramming a lot in here with 3 bedrooms and just solely a living room.
I mean, I can certainly discuss with my client, adding a dining area.
Yeah, well, if it fits. I'm not suggesting that it'll fit. I'm just,
Right, but
I'm just going by what was submitted, what I have in front of me. I didn't draw this.
That's sort of the point. These aren't, again, these are not apartments. They're single-family homes. It's not going to support an additional 100 people to the area. They're not rentals. They're ownership units. Each unit will be able to accommodate 3 cars, 1 in the garage and 2 stacked in the driveway. The driveway is 30 feet in length,
What is the width of the driveway?
12 feet.
Either Mr. Gonzalez or Mr. Colgan, what do you typically ask for a 2-car driveway in terms of the width?
I mean, 12 feet is not anything that's unique. You know, maybe a little bit wider. It depends if they wanted a double width driveway, then we would probably do about an 18-foot wide driveway, but.
It's not a it's not,
Just speaking to the microphone, sorry.
it's not a double wide driveway. It's single, but it's deep enough to accommodate 2 cars plus 1 in the driveway.
I'm going to come back to questions about the FAR and some other things that were regarding setbacks, but I'm going to turn to Mr. Brown first.
Okay.
All right, I just want to back up first, because a couple of comments we had was in reference to the advertised or the mailing.
Correct.
Can you talk to that?
We have a list that we get from the town of Islip for 200-foot radius, and we sent certified return receipt request letters to each of those residents on that list.
Right, and do we have those certified?
I have submitted them, yes.
Okay, all right. The FAR, which the chairman just mentioned and everything, what relaxations are we looking for you to fit into this property?
Well, that depends if we're going to cluster it or not.
As proposed, what relaxations are you asking for?
Do you want to?
As far as the buffer, as far as
I'm
the
gonna let-
side setbacks?
I'm going to let Mr. Rand speak to that.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Michael Rand from North Coast Civil, 39 West Main Street, Oyster Bay, New York. Some of the units on the smaller sized lots would require relief for FAR. As far as buffers, I'm not sure, I'd have to review the code to see what setback requirements, but as far as the distance and separation between the houses, we tried to position the homes in similar locations as the prior Residence B subdivision. So they all meet the 10-foot setback requirement that was required for the Residence B district. The footprint of the structures were designed so that they were similar sizes as that prior application. So essentially, we're taking the 8 lots that were a part of that original subdivision, splitting them in half and putting this
Right,
party wall
but
in
this not
between.
being Resident B, you're changing it
Yes,
to a different
understood.
zone. What would the setbacks, what would you need, and what relaxation are you asking for with that?
The relaxation, you require a 25-foot setback requirement, and many of the homes have a 10-foot setback, so they will require a relief on the side yard setback from the zoning board.
Right, and with the buffer?
I'd have to review the required buffer requirements.
All right, because I'd like to see what we're being asked. Do we have any, I guess, Mr.
I would like just one item to touch on as far as the DEC. There is wetlands on the southeast corner of the property. These plans have been submitted to the New York State DEC, and they've issued a permit and approval for this proposed layout. So that aspect of the application has been reviewed by the New York State DEC. And we
Okay.
can provide copies of that to the town.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. DeCiccio, can you speak to the amount of people that you're expecting would be living in this community and speak to the traffic it would create?
Well, again, it's 16 single-family homes, so I would, with 3 bedrooms each, I would assume, 2 to 3, 4 people per house.
Okay, so you're looking at 8 times 3, 24 cars?
20, yeah, I mean, that's the, if you have, if it's typically would be a couple with children, most couples don't have 3 cars, but again, we accommodate up to 3 cars.
Right, okay.
This isn't, again, and just to address some of the comments, this isn't going to be a situation where there's going to be 2 or 3 families living in one of these units. I mean, they're pretty small.
Right. Okay, Mr. Chairman?
While you're up there, Mr. DeCiccio, before I go to Ms. Cruz, I just want to go back to the driveway. I pulled up here the diagrams for the community across the street.
Okay.
They have similar driveway size of 18 feet, it appears. And front to back, I mean, they're sticking out in the street. Unless they have a smart car or something like that, I don't know how they fit front to back in there. And I'm looking at these diagrams, and they're parked over the curb. Some are parked on the grass, some parked up onto the walkway in front of the house. So I'm just trying to figure out, typically, Mr. Gonzalez, what do we ask for in a parking stall for a car? What's the length of it? Excuse me, just one second. Just
A typical parking stall per our requirements is 9 feet wide and 19 feet long.
So typically, we ask for in a parking stall 19 feet against a little overhang because it's a parking stall, but 19 feet in length for a single car.
Right,
And-
our driveways, are 30 feet in length.
Okay. Where did the 18 just come from? That's your,
I said they were 12 feet wide.
by 30.
30 feet.
So you're about 10 feet short of what we would typically ask for.
No, 12 feet wide,
No, length, you're 30 feet in length.
30 feet in length, yeah.
Right. So based on the standard that Mr. Gonzalez just brought up, which is typically 20 feet in length for each car.
That's for a parking stall.
Correct. So I take off the overhang. The overhang is not 5 feet. It's not 25% of it.
Oh, then we also have, again, we have the garage, so you add that.
We also have 3 bedrooms. I'd like to hear more about your design of the driveway. And the reason I raise that is if you look at, the area itself, parking in the street, or overflow parking in the street, there's not a lot of room in terms of putting cars out in that street.
So the homes are designed, the face of the garage to the property line is approximately 30 feet. From the property line to the sidewalk is about another 6 feet. So that's for 2, we look at it as 2 parking spaces 18 feet deep, and that would allow for 2 vehicles to park. We have enough width, we could make them wider and make them 18 feet wide, and instead of having stacked cars, we could do 2 side by side and possibly a third smaller vehicle. So you could have 3 vehicles parked in the driveway and an additional vehicle parked within the garage. That would allow each unit to have 4 off-street parking spaces. So there could be some adjustments to accommodate additional vehicles.
Yeah, I think certainly there needs to be some adjustments in the
Sure.
plan that we're saying.
We
I mean, you
will
may have the
review
room
that.
to make it work. I'm just suggesting that you need to look at that to make it work.
Understood.
Ms. Cruz?
I have a question that was brought up by the resident as far as landscaping and how small and clustered these are. You're really not giving, if I'm purchasing something like this, you want to enjoy the backyard. You want to enjoy your front yard. You want to plant things in the front and in the back. And there is no room. Where are you putting exactly, like he mentioned, or the resident mentioned, your garbage cans? I think even from looking at the Tudor, you see how people have, there's one home that put a little blow-up pool on the fence. There's really no room in these backyards to really do much. I like to see some landscaping, like are you putting, privacy to give to each neighbor? And I do have issue with the traffic. So I'd like to see some sort of traffic study. Where are the stop signs? Is there anything that can help them out? And also find out about the dealership to see about, the test drives and, how many do they do? That would also, I think would help with the traffic. I'd also like to see from you guys is there a laundry? Does this come with amenities in these apartments or just, again, you're gonna put a lot of people in this one little space, and I'd just like to see some landscaping. I'd like to see the driveway, because if people have 3, let's say just two cars, and then you have people, parties, Thanksgiving, where are they going? In a small area as well. So I'd like that to be considered.
Sure. So the lots, as far as usability, landscape, things of that nature, so they are varying in size. So there's smaller lots that have a smaller backyard. I think the least, it has a depth of about 20 feet. And there's larger backyards. Some of the larger lots in the rear have setbacks to the rear yard of close to 70 feet. So there is rear yards. Every lot is different and unique, especially based on the shape and the configuration of the property. And some lots do have a larger backyard than others. And I would not say that none of the lots have backyards. On the north side, if you look at lots 11 and 12, those have a rear yard setback of 95 feet. So they would have a backyard area of about 37 feet wide by 90 feet deep. So that is a substantial rear yard. Some of them are smaller and they would vary in size. And it's something that we can look at as far as where amenities could go. As far as a 10-foot setback, we don't feel that of a home of this size, that a 10-foot is not, something that's atypical. It would allow for a fence. You have 20-foot separation between the houses, and that would give enough room for a fence and the ability to have.
I know you're talking about fence, but I'd like to see greenery, like trees that will be planted with these, with a home, so that it looks, so they do have privacy. So you're just not putting a fence, and then you can see your neighbor, doing burgers. I don't know.
Understood.
You'd like a little bit, so you'd like a little wiggle room to put some privacy.
Sure,
That's all I'm
understood.
asking. Not-
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. No? Mr. Rowland?
Good evening. Most of what I was going to say has already been said by my colleagues. But the homes on Tudor, how many bedrooms are those?
I'm not sure. I do not know. Don't know.
How about those other areas where there's CAs? How many bedrooms? Do you know any of those, the sizes of those homes?
We do not know the number of bedrooms in those units.
Okay. Somebody brought up the school. I don't know if you spoke to anybody from the district in regards to possibility of more students going to the school and how that would affect them.
that's something we can look into further.
That's all I got.
Mr. Moriarty?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one question for Mr. DeCiccio. You know, a number of the residents raised questions about, you know, the long-term viability of the project as an ownership project, which obviously is our goal here. We don't want to see this as rental housing. We're trying to encourage ownership, particularly in this area. What assurances can you give the community on that issue? You know, these are large, three-bedroom, not large, but they're three-bedroom units that kind of lend themselves to rental housing. And I guess the concern the community is articulating is they don't want to see this not be an ownership, and what assurances can the developer give the community on that issue?
Well, I don't think they're going to support an accessory apartment within the unit. I don't think they meet the requirements of the town code to do so. I can certainly discuss with my client a covenant about ownership. I believe that was already probably discussed with planning. But, you know, other than that, there's not much I can do. But a covenant does run with the land, so it would bind any future property owners.
Right. Yeah, just to be clear on this, that would be a commitment to keep the project as an ownership project and not convert to rental, just so the community understands what you're representing.
Yep.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Mr. Brown?
Yeah, Mr. DeCiccio, what I heard tonight from the community is that I didn't hear that they're opposed to development of this property. It's been an eyesore for decades.
Over 20 years, yep.
What I did hear is that they think it's too dense for the parcel. So after tonight's meeting, I would like to hear some other ideas and everything to decrease the density of the property, to develop the property. And I know there's a fine line between the project being worthwhile financially, somebody coming in, developing a project and that, there's a line. So I would like to hear some other ideas as far as the density as we move forward.
With all due respect, we have, you know, we've worked on this plan for almost 2 years now with the planning staff. And this is the plan that we believe can be successful for the developer, as well as comport to the nature and character of the neighborhood. But I understand your comment, and we will certainly take a look.
And I would just piggyback on what Mr. Brown said, as well as Ms. Cruz said. I mean, to me, it looks like we're trying to squeeze a lot in there. That's why I brought up the driveway. People are going to spill into the street in terms of parking. If guests are coming over, they're not all going to fit in that cul-de-sac. 3 bedrooms from the floor plan submitted that I'm looking at. I'm only looking at the documents you guys have submitted.
Understood.
Seems a little bit tight, and seems like certain amenities, like a place to eat, are missing from it. So it seems like we're trying to pack a lot into a small area. And I also, you know, I tried to pull up the last CA development that was approved in there. I noticed it was 5 years ago. The best we found was 10 years ago. One was approved in that area, but we may be talking outside of a different area than I'm looking at. But to that point, you know, traffic and things change as more development happens. So while a CA might have been approved 10 years ago or 15 or 20 years ago, as more projects are approved, more housing is built, the population on Long Island, it goes up, traffic and other circumstances change. So I know somebody asked for a traffic study. It's probably not a full-blown traffic study looking at based on the size of this, but certainly we've heard about accidents in the area, stop signs, requests for a traffic light, and the rest. What this does, adding 8 houses certainly adds traffic. Adding 16 3-bedrooms adds a lot more, I think, to the area. So that is an impact that I would like to have looked at as well. I mean, obviously, we all want to see something developed. We want the property cleaned up. We want to make sure it works, not just for the developer and their pocket, but also for the community that resides around there and has to share those roads and that area with them. So that's where I leave it on my point. Is there anything further from the board?
Mr. Chairman, the only other
Mr.
comment...
Brown and then Mr. Moriarty.
The only other comment I had is if maybe planning staff could look in. I believe Suffolk County controls the bus stops, and we really have nothing to do with those, but is there something that we could send to the county to take a look at the bus stop? I heard some comments tonight that it was dangerous.
Mr. Moriarty.
Yeah, I would just concur with the comments of my fellow board members. I think it's just it's more than the property can reasonably accommodate. I understand you're trying to work with a lot of difficulties. The property's been vacant. We'd like to see this blighted. I'm sure the community does as well, want to see this blighted property brought up to proper standards and to see some development, but I think it's got to be a reasonable development relative to the space that it's working with. So I would concur with Mr. Brown and Mr. Friedland in their comments.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez, if I can just ask you, I know we have the cards here, just to verify with the applicant afterwards to make sure everything in the 200-mile radius, you don't have to answer it now, that we have them and that they were returned. 200 feet, I'm sorry, 200 mile, forget that, 200 feet radius were sent back. And then there's also some comments, I can't analyze it on the spot, but questions about, and you can get them from the minutes, about the FAR and the lot width and the setbacks to make sure they're all in compliance as well.
Yep, so we'll verify with the applicant, we'll check the owner list and make sure we have all the return receipts and mailings. And then in terms of the FAR and the zoning requirements in terms of setbacks, it is a proposed cluster, so those will all be less than the typical minimums that are required for the zone that they're requesting, but that's what comes with a cluster. So essentially, they are not getting any more units than is allowed based on the zone, but they're going to be placed in a way that one works around the environmental aspects of the property because there are wetlands there. And then that does mean that you potentially move things a little bit closer, but we will look at all those proposals.
Thank you. That being said, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman.
Oh, before I do that, Mr. Sissy, anything you want to add?
Nope.
I just want to say I got a problem. I was sent a letter to speak here, and I wasn't given my 3 minutes to speak, because it's more important to hit a ball, and everybody...
I'm going to say that I asked everybody to please fill out a card. I also asked if anybody wanted to be heard.
I'm sitting right here.
You come in late.
I also asked anybody who wanted to speak without a card to please come up, and 2 people came up.
It was said before you came in late.
So again, I'm not going to go back and forth. We're keeping a record. If you'd like to submit something in writing, I'm not, again, we're not going to argue back and forth. I asked if anybody would like to be heard. 2 people came up from the back of the room. If you'd like to submit something in writing, we'll happily take it and consider it as part of the record. Okay, we're not going to continue this. I asked everybody who would like to be heard to please come up, and 2 people from the back of the room came up to speak. I asked everybody who would like to be heard to... So,
you can't give me 3 minutes when I paid taxes for 30 years to the town of Al Smith?
be happy to take your comments in writing from you and be submitted. Okay, thank you.
Right,
Thank
and you're the only one out of all these people that didn't hear.
Is there a motion from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing and to reserve decision on the application.
It's a motion by Mr. Brown to close the public hearing and reserve decision. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Moriarty. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, the application is reserved. Thank you. Just so you know what reserve means, basically we've no decision tonight. There'll be a lot of back and forth between the applicant and the planning staff. If you'd like to get notification somehow, you can certainly grab cards. I think we have them somewhere from the planning staff. I'll ask somebody to come out and speak with you, okay? Speak to He's gonna... Next item on the agenda, Town Board Application Public Hearing, Quadrangle Properties LLC by Seth Abel, Managing Member, CZ 2025-012, north side of Long Island Expressway, North Service Road, State Route 495, approximately 491 feet east of Motor Parkway, Brentwood 690-692 Motor Parkway. Applicant requests a modification of covenants and restrictions associated with TC 4496 in order to increase the hours of operation for a bar, restaurant, and permit the bar restaurants operate independently of the off-track betting facility. Good evening, Ms. LaSquadra. Just give me 2 seconds for the room to clear out so we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. LaSquadra, when you're ready, we're ready for you.
Oh, okay, I just wanted
Yeah,
to make
good to go.
sure. Good evening, everyone. I think I have something that will be more brief and perhaps more straightforward for the board. It relates to the application, as you just heard, of Quadrangle Properties. This property is located on the north side of the expressway, right off of the service road. And it has an address of 690 Motor Parkway. The site is the location of the OTB Racing Forum. So the Racing Forum is operated by Suffolk Regional Off-Track Betting. Mr. Friedland, I probably realize I know a little of the back and forth here behind me. I may not have properly introduced myself, but for the record, Stephen LaSquadra, 649 Route 25A, Rocky Point, New York, on behalf of the applicant. The applicant is, as I mentioned, Quadrangle Properties, LLC. That's the owner of the building and the site where the Racing Forum is located. The Racing Forum, as I mentioned, is operated by Suffolk Regional Off-Track Betting. I am the special counsel to Suffolk Regional Off-Track Betting, and I'm appearing here in that capacity. This is what we respectfully submit is a simple and straightforward request for modification of covenants and restrictions. One, to increase hours of operation for a restaurant that's located within the Racing Forum, and two, to permit the restaurant to operate independently of the OTB facility, which, as I mentioned, is the Racing Forum.
Can you put the proposed hours on the record?
Excuse me,
The
sir?
proposed hours of operation?
Yes. Monday to Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Sunday, 12 to 9 p.m. These were picked specifically to match very precisely with the hours that are operated and used by the restaurants that are in the area.
Mr. Rowland, do you have a separate question?
No, what I got emailed is typo.
Oh, okay. So you got.
It was 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. It's a typo.
Oh,
Yeah,
there was a
okay.
typo?
Yeah.
Oh.
But that's why you put it on the record, so I think we've clarified. what
Okay.
we need to.
Well, we do not want that.
So
Well,
I don't
thank you
have
for
any
catching
public,
that.
I don't
I
have
hope,
any.
I think I stated it accurately, though. But thank you.
I have no cards on this application. Are you, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
No, I just simply wanted to add, just for completeness of the record, that the hours that are sought and the change, the modification, if you will, to the covenants and restrictions are so that the restaurant itself there can be viable and successful, because no restaurant there has ever succeeded, because although the covenants and restrictions some years back were very well intended at the time, it is not permitted a restaurant to be viable, to succeed. And so this would allow the restaurant then to succeed there if it can operate independently and merely have hours that mirror exactly those of the surrounding restaurants. And so this is designed, we respectfully submit, to conform to the very nature and character of not only what is there, because there are many restaurants that we could name offhand that are literally almost adjacent or are adjacent or within immediate walking distance surrounding the subject property, but also it reflects the hours that those establishments operate. So those are the only things, Mr. Friedland, that I wanted to add.
Thank you. I don't have any cards. Anybody wish to be heard? Anybody come in later wish to be heard? Not seeing anyone, I'm going to turn to Mr. Colgan. Oh,
I'm sorry.
Mr. Rowland.
What time does the OTB close?
It depends on the day. So some days it might close midday. Some days it closes a little later. It's a rotating schedule.
Okay.
Mr. Colgan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. As stated by the applicant, this application proposes to modify the hours of operation for an existing bar within an off-track betting facility and also allow the bar to be run independently of the OTB. Prior to this, the property was the subject of a change of zone and town board special permit back in 1999, which authorized the OTB and imposed the conditions on the bar. The proposed hours of the bar are proposed to be no later than 11 p.m. and are, fairly consistent with other restaurant and commercial uses. The surrounding area consists of primary commercial uses, including food establishments, thus the later proposed hours would not have an adverse impact on sensitive users like residences or churches or anything like that. The staff believes that the proposal is consistent with other approvals of bars and with typical covenants should operate harmoniously with the surrounding area. So we'll leave it up to the board if we want to work out conditions with the applicant. The staff has no objection with moving forward on the application this evening.
Thank you. Any further questions for Mr. Colgan or the applicant? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Brown?
I make a motion that we close the public hearing and grant the application as presented by Mr. Colgan.
I'll second that.
Subject to the staff working out conditions. There's a motion by Mr. Brown to close the public hearing and grant the application, subject to the staff working with the applicant on any conditions. Is there a second? Mr. Rulon, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, the application is granted. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening, everyone.
Next item on the agenda, Town Board application, public hearing, 31 Cleveland Holding Company, LLC, CZ 2025-013, east side of Cleveland Avenue, approximately 430 feet south of Pioneer Drive, Bay Shore, 31 Cleveland Avenue. Applicant requests a change of zone from Industrial 1 to Industrial 2 in order to permit outdoor storage. Site plan modifications are required as part of the application. Good evening again.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. J.R. DeCiccio with the law firm of Greenberg Charig, 900 Stewart Avenue, Garden City, New York, 11530. With me tonight, I have the project engineer, Jackie Parento from Key Civil Engineering, who will be able to answer any questions on the site plan. I'm appearing tonight on behalf of the applicant, 31 Cleveland LLC, in connection with the proposed change of zone to Industrial 2 for the property located on the east side of Cleveland Avenue, just south of Pioneer Drive in Bay Shore. Subject property is slightly over an acre and is currently improved with a one-story building measuring 12,925 square feet. As part of the application, the existing building is proposed to remain as is. The proposed change of zone is necessary to accommodate the operator of the site, which is Island Pavement Cutting. That's a longtime provider of heavy highway and specialty construction services. They have outdoor storage of equipment, vehicles, trailers, and containers. There's also some materials stored at the site. We have sand and roadway repair materials. As you can see from the site plan, the outdoor storage are all located in the rear yard, behind the building, and will not be visible from Cleveland Avenue. As far as the existing neighborhood, there is Industrial 2 directly adjacent to the east and to the south, as well as across the street to the north on the west side of Cleveland Avenue. From the aerial, you can see that there is a proliferation of outdoor storage in the area. I've also submitted pictures of the subject property, as well as some of the surrounding properties. And in my opinion, the subject property is clearly the most well-maintained in the area.
Mr. DeCiccio, I'll let you build as large of a record as you want within 30 minutes, but I know that the board has reviewed the application. I don't think we have any questions, but you're certainly welcome to put anything on the record you'd like before I go to a staff report.
No, I think we've all had a long enough night so far.
So I'm going to turn to Mr. Colgan for a staff report. If something comes up after a staff report, we'll ask you, and you're welcome to put anything back on the record if you'd like afterwards.
Sounds good.
I'll be brief. The proposed Industrial 2 zoning district is generally preferred in areas surrounded by industrially zoned properties and away from residences. The surrounding area consists of a mix of Industrial 1 and Industrial 2 properties. The conceptual site plan complies with parking and shows a 71% overall, approximately 71% overall landscaping relaxation. Previously required landscaping was displaced by the outdoor storage, and the staff recommends a mitigation fee in lieu of any net loss in landscaping. And we could work that out with the applicant during site plan review. The proposed parallel parking stalls could potentially work, provided that the limits of outdoor storage are strictly adhered to, and the spots behind the gate are limited to employee parking. Both of these details should be delineated clearly on the site plan. And lastly, we agree the building should adequately screen any of the outdoor storage from public view. Aside from those comments, the site appears to be contextual in terms of use and appearance with the surrounding neighborhood, and staff would have no objection to the applicant's proposal.
Mr. DeCiccio, any concerns about Mr. Colgan's comments?
No, I do not have any concerns, no.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Mr. Robinson?
Motion.
We'll get you a better microphone.
Yeah. Close the application. Motion to close the application.
It's a motion by Mr. Robinson to close the application, close the public hearing and grant the application, subject to any conditions subject to conditions. Is there a second? Second. Second by Mr. Moriarty. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, your application is granted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is how the first application was supposed to go.
Item 7 on the agenda, site plan modification decision item, Blake Chen, SP 2024-058, west end of Drexel Drive, 910 feet west of Fifth Avenue, County Route 13, Bay Shore, 52-54 Drexel Drive. Applicant requests a landscape and relaxation in connection with the legalization of additions on an existing industrial building and related site work. Good evening.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Jacqueline Peranto, principal at Key Civil Engineering, located at 664 Blue Point Road, Holtzville, New York, 11742. I'm here tonight representing Mango Dessert, the operator of the property, and 35 Allen LLC, the property owner. The application tonight is to seek approval of the site plan amendment and associated relief from the town's landscaping requirements, as well as for providing a chain link trash enclosure in lieu of masonry. Further, the project seeks to legalize 2 previously constructed warehouse additions totaling 1,036 square feet. The existing approved site plan encompasses only the eastern portion of the property. The western portion was formerly tax lot 68.4, was recently acquired by the applicant and is currently undeveloped and wooded. These parcels have now been consolidated under Suffolk County Tax Map number, District 500, Section 200, Block 2, Lot 68.12. The property will serve as a consolidated headquarters for Mango Dessert, including corporate offices, commercial bakery, and warehouse operations. The company currently operates from 3 leased facilities and has acquired this site to centralize their operations. The new facility is designed to support 50 employees with capacity for an additional 10 to 15 staff as the company grows. They also accommodate visits from current and prospective franchisees. The current relief that we're seeking for landscaping is a relaxation from the 20% overall to 15.45% overall, and relaxation in the front yard landscaping from 50% to 22.46%. We've provided a breakdown of existing and proposed landscape areas to the town planner, and as shown, there's a vast improvement to the current developed lot, and the vacant lot that is now part of our site will remain 61% green, including buffers, and 30% excluding the residential buffer. The property to our west is a water district. There's a water tower, but zoned residence. In addition, we're seeking approval to waive the masonry trash enclosure requirement. The trash enclosure is located on the west side of the property behind a chain link fence with vinyl slats. The chain link enclosure itself will be chain link with vinyl slats and have evergreen screening along one side and is wooded in the rear and to the west. For these reasons, we feel that it would be reasonable.
Can I ask you, what is the buffer against the residential property? Does it meet the requirements?
It does, 25 foot.
Okay. You're welcome to continue on. It was the one question I think the board had.
No, that's, to conclude, I would just say the project represents a significant investment in the local economy. It aims to improve the underutilized land, resolve some longstanding site issues, and supports the continued growth of this business, looking to put their headquarters in the town of Islip. Happy to answer any questions.
This is decision items. I'll go right to a staff report. Mr. Gonzalez?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an industrial one-zone, almost 2.8 acre property, which is currently improved with a 36,259 square foot warehouse and office building. The original portion of the building was CO'd in 1983 for a shell, basically they call it, for those uses. 12,000 square feet of that was CO'd that same year for an industrial plastics company, with the other 23,000 square feet for another warehouse and office use. Part of the overall scope for this project is to legalize 2 additions totaling 1,036 square feet, a 387 square foot covered loading dock, and 134 square foot utility mezzanine. The original property, which obtained site plan approval in 1986, did not include the handle, if you will, portion of the current lot that you see on the western side, as that was recently acquired and consolidated into the current overall property. That handle was essentially entirely wooded, minus some impervious surface encroachments. Per the applicant, as just stated, it will operate as the consolidated headquarters for Mango Mango Dessert, which has 3 lease facilities, 40 franchises across the U.S., and 1 currently on Long Island. There will be 50 employees with the capacity for an additional 10 to 15 staff. 59 parking stalls are required, 76 are provided, which would be in line with their potential employee expansion. Almost 15.5% overall landscaping and almost 22.5% front yard landscaping are provided instead of 20% and 50% respectively. Just for some context, the eastern lot, which has the warehouse building on it, dating back to the 1986 approval, had very minimal landscaping on the property and is actually being increased from what was approved. And the acquired property was basically fully wooded minus some encroachments, but is remaining over 61% green space. So we did analyze that in regards to how we assess landscape mitigation fees, and based on those 2 aspects, they are not being assessed in that regard. So overall, the site will function similarly to the original approval with some additional site work, and based on that, staff would recommend the board grant the application subject to the attached conditions.
I just have one question on the buffer requirement. Was town code changed in, was it April, to increase from 25 to 35 feet? What is the actual buffer you're providing?
We're providing a 25-foot buffer to the residential zone with staggered plantings, and I'm not aware of a code change.
Ms. Gonzalez, are you aware of the?
I'm not aware of that either, but I'll look it up now. Is it specifically for industrial 1? Because I'll bring that up.
It is. Just give us 1 second. I want to just verify that we're.
There is a portion of the buffer that's remaining wooded, which would provide a wider area. But in order to provide circulation around the building, we would need to hold the 25-foot for the portion that's adjacent to the building. One of the reasons they purchased that property is to get better circulation for their vehicles, for the trucks to get to the back of the property.
It's clear on the record that it's not a sensitive use.
Okay, so I think, I don't know if you found that, Ms. Gonzalez, but I think there is a change in the code, but I would say that it's in a pre-existing building, it's up against Water Authority property. I think there are certainly differentiating circumstances here. The building is existing, we're not changing the building itself.
Correct.
There may be some room to play around with a little bit, but I would be okay with an approval subject to an agreement between engineering and the planning staff.
I was going to ask, is it an additional waiver request to
The
this
sound
board?
attenuation wall, yes. I'm okay with that.
Thank you.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yeah, I just found it in the zoning code. It's 68-351, landscape buffer of 35 feet provided to, in the industrial 1 code, adjacent to any residential zone or use. But essentially, what used to be 2 lots the main building being on the eastern lot that was basically approved at a 0 lot line at the time. And now they're adding that extra lot, so they're actually providing a new 25-foot buffer off of the building, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with approving it. I just want to make sure, I guess, engineering, certainly planning sounds like they're okay with it. As long as engineering's okay with it as well, I think I'm okay with going forward.
I actually had gone around with Paul Furman in engineering. It didn't come up as a comment. We resubmitted recently to address the initial round of comments. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it, subject to engineering giving us something back. I just don't want to have it at 25 when it's supposed to be 35. We don't at least address it from the board's perspective. I have no problem with the application itself. It's up against Water Authority property that's not a true
Correct.
residential right up against it. It's an existing building, the building's been there, so that none of that has changed. So as long as engineering is in concurrence with Mr. Gonzalez.
I don't foresee any issue with it. It is the Water Authority property. It's not going to become any residential use, even though it is the zone, but.
Yep. Just want to put it on the record and differentiate the two, so we're not ignoring the 35-foot. Is there anything further from the board? Would the applicant like to add anything further? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Brown?
I'd like to make a motion to grant the application, subject to the comments by Mr. Gonzalez in reference to the 25 versus the 35-foot buffer, and his comments in reference to the Water Authority property adjacent to it.
Waiving the sound attenuation.
And waiver the
Sound attenuation fence.
sound continuation
Fence.
fence.
This is a motion by Mr. Brown to grant the application, subject to the comments, including Mr. Gonzalez speaking to engineering, and waiving the sound attenuation fence requirement. Is there a second to that?
Second.
That's Mr., who was that? Was that Mr. Rule? Was that Mr. Wilson? I don't know. Mr. Wilson, second by Mr. Wilson, all in favor? Opposed, abstentions, your application is granted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Last item on the agenda, Planning Board application decision item, Carlton Avenue LLC, care of Georgia Green Ventures LLC, PB 2023-032, northwest corner of Carlton Avenue, County Route 17 and Brightside Avenue, through lot to Cordello Avenue, 1 and 29-31 Carlton Avenue, 5 and 9 Railroad Avenue, 1 Cordello Avenue, Central Islip. Applicant requests a modification of Planning Board special permit conditions in order to modify the range of affordable housing income units. Good evening for the last time, Mr. DeCiccio.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. J.R. DeCiccio with the law firm of Greenberg Traurig, 900 Stewart Avenue, Garden City, New York, 11530. I'm appearing tonight on behalf of the applicant, Carlton Avenue LLC. As you read, Mr. Chairman, we are seeking to modify planning board imposed cut conditions with respect to an already approved mixed-use building on Carlton Avenue in Central Islip. As initially contemplated, the building will contain 96 affordable apartments, but the breakdown of affordability in the previous conditions was not correct. The correct range of affordability, as anticipated, is 10 apartments at 30% AMI, 15 apartments at 50% AMI, 38 apartments at 60% AMI, 22 apartments at 80% AMI, 10 apartments at 100% AMI. And the language imposed by proposed by the town planning staff and the new conditions will accommodate this range. So I'd be happy to answer any questions the board might have.
Thank you. We'll go to Mr. Wozniak for a staff report, and if we have any questions, we'll come back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The application was granted in 2024 for a mixed-use building with 96 affordable units. The project overall involves the accumulation of land from several different landowners as well as funding from several different parties. Tonight, the applicant's looking to modify the range of affordability for 10 of the rental units as was requested by the state. The requested changes are minor in nature and are still consistent with the spirit and intent of the original planning board approval. Also, the revised unit composition is more restrictive than originally imposed, reducing the number of units at 100% AMI to lower levels. Based on this, planning recommends the board grant the application subject to the attached conditions, which require 85% of the units to have an AMI of 80% or less, and the remaining units cannot exceed 100%. This change in language offers more flexibility should the regulatory agency modify the limits in the future, but it still ensures the building remains as all affordable units.
Any questions from the board? Anything further from the applicant?
No.
Do we have any tough questions to ask Mr. DeCiccio instead of letting him leave?
Ask me about walkability.
Yeah, we won't do that. You have some walkability here.
Yes, there's plenty of walkability here.
Is there a motion? Mr. Wilson?
I'd like to make a motion to grant the application subject to the conditions.
There's a motion by Mr. Wilson to grant the application, subject to any conditions. Is there a second? Second by, that was Mr. Moriarty. Have it up, Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have one abstention. Thank you. You're approved.
Thank you.
Is there a motion, Mr. Brown?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Brown to adjourn, second by Ms. Cruz. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? We are adjourned. Thank you all.